What's up, y'all? Greetings from Cabo San Lucas. I'm on the road this week, but I felt like it was important to debrief Showtime with Golden Tate, about to run it back, take you through what really happened. Special Forces was one of the hardest things I'd ever done, and I'm willing to bet my life that it was only a small percentage of like what they actually go through. And at the end of the day, I knew that I was coming back home. So thank you so much to our military in all shapes and forms. And man, we are the greatest country in the world because of you all. So thank you. With that being said, let's get into it. And I got so much I want to cover today that I brought my iPad to make sure I didn't miss out on a single thing. And so excuse me if you see me rolling through, because I got a bunch of juiciness just on this iPad that I cannot wait to spit it out. And I just hope I can articulate it well enough. So good luck. Here we go. To start off the episode, first off, we woke up at 3 a.m, drove for 2 hours, and then sat in a taxi cab for another 2 hours waiting on the call time. And when we finally get on the boat, we're all excited to see each other because we don't have a clue on who's about to be on this season of Special Forces, but we'd all have seen the previous season. So we get on, we're starting meeting people. We're trying to keep it lighthearted. You know, we're joking around saying, hey, I wonder if we're gonna go snowboarding or wakeboarding, knowing that things are about to get real at any moment now. And so finally, we get settled in. We sit down on the boat in the middle of the water, understanding that we're not going towards any land here to get dropped off. And next thing you know, this black boat just pulls up, and it's the DS, the drill sergeants. And let me tell you, they start throwing glorified fireworks into the water, saying, get down, get down. And so we all get down fully clothed, kind of in a child's pose. They come put potato bags over our face, and now we're just kind of listening. And as we're listening, you can hear them in their European accents. Who are you? Where are you from? Why are you popular? And eventually you hear, psh. These are people getting pushed into the water. I mean, full on. Pff. And so I get up there, and I believe they asked me, who are you? I'm Golden Tate. What do you do? Play American football. Well, we don't give a shit about American football. We like soccer, the real football. Fair enough, DS. I can accept that. Anyway, do you think you have what it takes? I hope so. We'll see. Pushes me in the water. This water had to be about 50 degrees. And I finally come up and I look around, and it felt like a mile and a half we had to swim to shore with the life jacket on, with a suede jacket, fully clothed. And here I go, I start swimming, and I got DS on this like rubber boat, just like, come on, you can do it, get your tail up there. So eventually I get there probably 30 minutes later, and they're like, recruits are gonna get punished if you don't hurry up. And I finally get up there to land, thank God. I can't even feel my arms, my legs. I'm freezing. I'm breathing hard. I'm really uncomfortable. I hadn't done this type of workout in never. And so here we go. So me and Cam Newton are in line together doing up downs and push-ups because we feel like it's punishment, but we learn it's to keep us from getting hypothermia because that's how cold it was out there. And DSQ, I will never forget. He walks over slowly to me and Cam, and he looks at us. He says, get down and give me 25 and hold it. And I'm like, why doesn't everyone else have to do it? What do we just do? And so we get down and do the push-ups, and the holding part after 25 is a beast. Let me tell you, arms are just, and he gets down, slowly talking to us, and says, you two supposed to be the strongest motherfuckers out here, huh? We gonna see. Y'all think y'all strong because y'all athletes? Well, we're gonna really see what it's about. And I'm like, wow, getting picked on already. And so that's how we started the episode, the season off. And eventually we get our bags, our Bergens, don't call them backpacks, 30 pounds at all times, and we start our first hike. And so that's how we start the season off. Okay, so our first mission was the helicopter mission, as you guys saw, jumping from a boat onto a helicopter, which was one of the coolest experiences I've had. I mean, otherwise I would never be jumping from really anything unless it was jumping into the end zone, which you saw a few times. But that was cool. But I think it's important to point out, before we got to that mission, we had to jog and run with our burdens for a while down that long path. I mean, people felt like they were dying. People's legs had stopped working. You know, people were kind of trying to put their weight on each other's burdens. And this is all before we even got to the mission. So we eventually get to the mission and we're kind of waiting around for our turn. And people start off, you know, failing it right away. Half of us end up passing it. So when we're talking about the people who failed it, I thought it was important to understand, like, a lot of people failed before they even started it because they couldn't settle into the chaos. I mean, when we're on that boat and it's moving and the helicopter's there, you got to know, like, how far you can jump, how far you can't jump. And I think a lot of mostly the non-athletes didn't know how far they could jump or couldn't jump. And so they had the pressure of DS in your mind, in your head. Jump, let's go, you better jump, go. And people are getting full on panics, and so they would jump too early, and when the helicopter was not close enough. And that's why before they even jumped, they had failed it, because they let the pressures of the DS get to you. And it was important just to kind of try to stay calm and just execute it one step at a time. Now, that helicopter mission was a beast as well. Like, it looked easy. It was easy for me to kind of jump and grab it, but like, this thing's moving, trying to finagle your way up into the helicopter is a whole nother thing. You had to have some upper body strength. So unfortunately, some people just didn't have that and they went down into the water. Now, let me tell you about Cam. Cam he's one of the last ones. And, you know, Cam is a big boy, right? And I joke about 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 260, 270. And he got some power in there. He get up on that boat and jumps onto the helicopter, grabs the helicopter, and the helicopter shifts like this. And I was like, oh crap, is he going down? Abort mission. Helicopter bounces back and he executes a mission, but we all were like, ooh, is this thing going down? Because that was kind of like crazy. That's a big old boy with some power, right? And so he passed it. Thankfully, it didn't go down. We finished that mission, and finally, it's time to go home. What's going to be home for the next however many days we're there. And we get on the parade deck and they're talking to us about how we suck because we just, you know, all of us had failed. You know, a lot of people had failed the mission, the helicopter mission. And he has us separate, and they didn't even show us. And it just makes me so mad because this is a great moment, I thought, for them to show. I fidgeted. Like I straightened up my armband or my jacket on the parade deck. Number 9, stop fidgeting. You will be punished. I'm like, golly. Been there for like an hour and a half. I'm getting punished again. And so as they dismiss everyone. Number 9, you go into this little area right here, and we call it the chicken coop. Okay, the chicken coop was about, we'll say it was probably 2.5 feet in the ground and like 1.5 feet above ground. And so you were forced to kind of like, made me get in it and stand like this. I had to stand like this for like 25 minutes in the chicken coop. It was like a mini jail. And so I am standing in that chicken coop as the other recruits are getting to see the mess hall where we're eating, the dry room, which is like the hangout spot, where to do the fires, where we shower, where we use the toilets, and I'm just sitting in this chicken coop. And so me, I'm a goofball. I'm in a chicken coop trying to make eye contact with whoever wants to make eye contact with me, and I'm like looking like a chicken. And so had a little fun with it. Eventually let me out. I have no clue what is going on because I was in the chicken coop where everyone was being shown the living quarters. And I was upset that they didn't want to show that because that was a pretty funny moment, and all of us laughed about that one, even at the reunion. That was fun. Let's see what else we got. Oh, gosh. I'm telling you, this iPad's got some juiciness in it. All right, so we get settled in. We eat dinner, whatnot, And then next thing you know, the chaos starts. You got 5 minutes. Get on the parade deck. And just your fleece or just your shirt and no Bergens, no beanies, no jackets. It's raining, and we're like, okay, what are we about to do? They had us go over into what they call the Beehive. And the Beehive, let me tell y'all, I'm not like, I'm obviously not Michael Phelps in the water, but I'm also, I'm not like a 2-year-old in the water. Like I can hold my own, I can swim, I can do my thing, I can survive, I thought. But we ended up getting in this Beehive, which is like it's like a big old above ground pool that was about 8 feet deep. They have us jump in one by one. Psh, psh, psh. The water is, of course, freezing. And then they tell us to come to the middle and tread water. We are fully clothed with some heavy leather steel toe boots on. Treading water, 16 of us treading water. You can't get a rhythm, you can't get your breath right because you're being kicked, you're getting punched, you got the water that's going into your mouth, so you're just you're trying to survive. And we were in there for what felt like an hour and a half, and I think we probably were in there for like 20 minutes. I'm talking about we were just struggling, and the goal was to stay in the middle of the Beehive for as long as you can. Now, I tried, but I had to go to the side and hang out, y'all. I gave my best effort, and then they had me come right back into the middle after a while, and I got tired, I fatigued out because I wasn't getting oxygen, I wasn't breathing. I was in full panic, thinking I was about to die out here. It got to the point where to give myself some time to like recover, I was letting myself sink to the bottom to give my muscles some rest, and I was pushing back to the top and then trying to give you another minute and a half, hoping it's gonna be over at any point. And man, that was the second or third time we've been in the water that day. And this is how we started the season off. Look, I'm a land animal. You give me some sand, some grass, and I can do whatever you need me to do all day. But you throw me in that water, I'm not meant for water. And this is a serious question for y'all who film this. Think about this. How many Black Olympian swimmers have you ever seen? That's proof right there. We're not meant for the water, period. Sorry for my emotions. So after the first night, people started leaving, and I thought it was really important to be sensitive to them leaving, but hey, bruh, let me get your socks, let me get your boots, let me get your belt, your compass, your beanie. And so as people left, we give them a hug and we're like, hey, I need this stuff. I need it. So we finally get to sleep. They finally cut the lights off after they send, Baldwin home, and we get to day two. Day two, we started off in the morning. We get breakfast, and let me tell you, our breakfast every single day that I was there for breakfast, we got 2 boiled eggs, some cold toast, some oatmeal that I call porridge, unflavored, unseasoned, and some instant coffee. You take a scoop of coffee, put it in your water, stir it up, and do what you gotta do. This oatmeal was so bad that we had to take the jelly packets that were used for the toast to put it in the porridge and stir it up to give it just a little bit of flavor. And so we were all pretty much eating just to have fuel so we didn't die. I mean, that was, whew. I mean, I didn't get my scrambled eggs and my bacon, my crispy bacon, my hash browns. I didn't get any of that. I didn't get my Chick-fil-A biscuits that I requested, especially on Sunday, obviously, in Wells. Now, our next mission is going to be to jump from a 150-foot bridge. But before we do that, we had our 30-pound Bergens that we had to hike and run and jog through creeks, through high grass, through rocks, uphill, downhill for about 20, 25 minutes, and we were gassed before we even got to the location. Eventually we get to the location, we look at this bridge, it's like, oh, no. Y'all not about to make us jump off this, are you? Yep, you're jumping. And so, that takes a while because each recruit had to hike up, which was a beast of a hike, get set up, make sure we're all safe, execute the mission, get down, get back in line. Next one had to go up. And so we were there for like probably 3 or 4 hours waiting on our turn to do our mission. And let me tell you, the bugs were out. I don't know what these little rascals were, but they were these little bitty bugs with some big old wings, and they just were pester you all over your face. Because that's the only thing that was exposed, all over your face. So the entire time we're all just like smacking our face. And they leave these little bitty like red marks on your face when they bite you, and it was just really uncomfortable for like 4 hours. Again, what am I even really complaining about? Our military, they probably wouldn't even mention that because that's the least of the worries. Meanwhile, prima donna celebrities are complaining about some freaking bugs, excuse me, but it was something. So we get to my turn to do the bridge jump. Now, I'm afraid of heights, but I know Fox is not about to let me die out here, because if Fox let me die, we're gonna name it Tate. We gonna own Fox, and so I'm not worried about dying. Although I'm scared of heights, I'm figuring they got a pretty solid insurance policy anyway. And so I get down and I execute my jump perfectly. I crushed it exactly how they wanted me to do it. But me, being me, air guns. I'm like, pew, 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 pop, 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 pew. And they saw it on camera. And I'm like, I just crushed that. And it's gonna be great for TV. I get down. What the hell was that? Number 9, get over here. So I run, thinking like, yeah, he's gonna praise me because I just crushed this and I brought it, I was a little extra. Boy, I got a big fat fail. I got my tail completely chewed all the way out. And to make it even worse, once we were finally done with that mission, everyone got punished except for me and Cam. But before I tell you that, let me rewind. Cam Newton gets up there. He's one of the last ones again to do to jump from the bridge. He crushes it. I'm excited for him. Actually, time out. I gotta rewind even more. When I jumped off the bridge, I was free falling, and then I clenched when I thought it was about time for the bungee to grab me. And when I clenched, I did something to my cartilage in my rib. You might can hear it in the episode. I go, ugh! And I get down, do my pew-pews, I fail it. Cam ends up going, I got a hurt rib, he crushes it. And so he's running back and like, we're homies, like we celebrate, And so Cam ends up, I'm like, let's go, good job. And he hits me dead smack in the rib. I'm talking about, put me to the ground, vein popping out my neck. I'm like, ugh! DS looks over like, what the hell is going on over there? What are you doing? Stop grab-assing. And then, they see me on my knee. I'm just like, nothing, Staff, I'm good. No, you just ruined the mission. Like, this is a covert mission. Like, you're supposed to be silent. And now you just gave us up. And so now we're finally done. And everyone gets punished except for me and Cam. And we have to sit there and watch everyone's Bergen be thrown into the creek. They had to go fetch their Bergen. Now these 30-pound Bergens with water, filled with water on the material, turns into, 35, 40, 45-pound Bergens. And then everyone's freezing cold, and me and Cam are just sitting on our Bergen, like watching them get tortured. And so they pick up their Bergens, they're way more now, and now we must go the same way we came, back to the Jeeps or to the Land Rovers, hiking uphill, downhill, through rocks, through grass, through another creek, and finally we make it back to the Land Rover. And I felt so bad. I felt so bad that everyone was freezing, tired because of my silliness. And so like one of the most embarrassing moments in the world for me is that moment. And so from that moment on, I felt like, man, I need to tighten up and stop being so. They called it out there in Wales, when you are goofballing, being silly, they call it pussyfooting. Have you ever heard it being called pussyfooting? Ever heard that? I never heard the word pussyfooting. And so I had to stop doing all that. Day 2, we still on day 2, y'all, and this is how we started day 2. Day 2, so we get lunch, whatever, and now we go to the beach. And let me tell you, all of these were hard until the next mission came. And so we had this training at the beach where we all 16, I think at this point we have 15, all 15 of us interlock and we go into the water. If we were standing up, the water would probably go up to, I don't know, maybe our knees, but we had to lay down flat in the water. So you only could see our faces in the water, interlocked. And we had to do rollbacks where our feet had to go from in front of us to roll all the way back behind us and back over. And you could not interlock. So you couldn't use your hands to figure it out. You had to just use shoulder and interlock and find a way to like work as a team. I'm talking about we was breaking the chain nonstop. And we were getting, it just kept going longer and longer and longer. We did that for probably 20 to 25 minutes, locked arms. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but one of the biggest blessings for me was I was on the end. Because I had Cam Newton, I don't know how this happened. I had Cam Newton right here on my inside, on my left arm. And like I said, Cam Newton is 6'5", 6'6", 260, 270, doing rollbacks. And so I was able to actually use the sand to help, when he would roll back, getting 270 that way is kind of tough, how you get it back. So I was able to help him get it back, which is a blessing in disguise, because if I would have been linked inside with people both arms, there's no way we would have been able to handle Cam. And so that was a huge blessing that I didn't even know at the time until I looked back, like, dang. But one of the techniques I used to really help me get through that portion, because it's torture. The water's cold, you're getting crushed, your water's getting all in your grill, in your nose, you're swallowing it, it's in your ears, it's chaos. But I did know, like, going back from like working out, is that when you are doing exercises like a squat, when you're doing the hardest part of squat, you want to be exhaling. And when it's the easiest part, you're going to be inhaling. And so when we were rolling back, I was exhaling. I was pushing any water that might have been trying to sneak in there, pushing it out, which has also helped me stay with my core. And that was just, I guess, knowledge I had from like playing football over years. So, hey kids, working out, tighten yourself by exhaling in your workouts. And so trying to get my breath right, because if you can't breathe in any situation, when you have anxiety, when you're tired, when you're excited, that's how, when you're super emotional, that's breathe. You got to breathe. That's why you hear it so much. When I was breathing, I was able to slow things down, and I actually pictured myself in Cabo San Lucas, where we are right now filming this, drinking a margarita, ordering a margarita by the beach, and the water was like 70. And obviously we weren't there, but it was able to calm me down a little bit, and I was able to like actually get through it. And it was just mind over body. That's all it was. And so that was one thing, like I sat there like, hey, I'm in Cabo, I just got a margarita, I'm about to go jump in this water, and it worked. I almost like blacked out for, I don't know, maybe it was a minute, maybe it was 10 seconds, but it was long enough to get me through. Then they have us go grab these 30 or 40 pound sandbags, all right? And we had to go back, grab these big logs. I mean, these logs are probably 7 feet long. I mean, thick logs, they were heavy. And they have us take the sandbags and hold them over our faces. Now, these sandbags had holes in them, and they were already in the sand. So my dumb tail like lifts it up and look up, and it's just sand, just all over my face, all in my eyes. I'm just trying to like, can't see, trying to lift them up. We get to the logs. We're back in the water doing sit-ups. You have one person on the end, another person on the other end. You're doing sit-ups in the water. And they didn't even show the workout. That workout lasted about 35, 40 minutes. And they had us doing those, army crawling, duck walking, frog walking, ant walking, elephant walking. I don't even know all the different walks, bear crawling in the sand, doing like a little CrossFit workout. Had to go get back into the water to neck high, that's freezing cold still, sit there until they told you to get out and do that all over again. And so that day 2 beach workout was like one of the hardest things ever. Okay, so we get back to the Land Rover, and people are freezing. We're all shivering, chipping teeth because our teeth are just shivering. You got me, Nathan, Marion Jones, and Kayla Brown all in the Land Rover, freezing. And they were kind enough at the time to tell us to put our beanies on and take our wet shirts off and put our fleeces on. And I was like, okay, that was very nice of them. And then it just dawned on me, like, that was so we don't catch hypothermia. Marion Jones is in the vehicle with us. She is shivering so much. And we're on our way back to camp, which is still a 30-minute ride. And Marion is so cold. And we end up pulling over. The ambulance gets there, gets her warm, however they get her warm, and they take her to get medically looked at. But that was one of the scariest moments of the entire time, just like watching someone and that there's nothing we could do. And it just reminded me of, like, man, could you imagine if we actually would have been at war and watching your buddy in Afghanistan or wherever he is, like, get shot or something happen, just watching them die and how helpless you feel. And the only thing you can do is, like, to hopefully carry them out of there. Like, how many times has that happened over history? I'm assuming it's happening a whole bunch. And, like, so my heart went from, like, you know, thinking about Marion, be like, man, this happens to our military. And that memory that you have to, that core memory that you have to have of, like, watching your brother or your sister, like, die in your arms or struggle the way Marion struggled in your arms, is something like, man, that hurt me to my core. So again, this whole point of this podcast was to bring this stuff to light. Slow this show down because it's a great show and they produced it amazingly. And I can't wait for the next episode. But I think it's really important for y'all as viewers to also stop and think in two ways. One, what do you think our military is really going through? And again, like I said, this is a tenth of what they actually go through. But just, like, imagine, like, what it's like being on the road for months and years away from your family, the living conditions, what you're eating, all things that we don't really have to think about unless you draw attention to it. And that's the whole point of this podcast, is to do that. And so I want you guys to think about that. Overall, I am so excited about this episode 2 that's coming out, and I hope you guys like it. Here we go. Showtime with Golden Tate.